to use.
We'll leave that in Quentin's capable hands.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the mail vote, what do you mean?
Oh,
You're in
Harvey
trouble.
Weinstein.
I might have marital power, but you're in real trouble.
When will we get the results? Is there a date certain that all these
Well,
gotta be
there's
in?
the survey officially ends the 6th of July.
Okay.
And so it'll take us some time, obviously, to analyze the results, and then we'll be returning.
So we ought to know by August.
Yeah, we'll be returning to you. The issue came up because the board had asked Chris Shoemaker to start an education process for what the new thing was. And he came to me asking, well, how's the best way to do that? And I went back to him and said, I think you ought to hold off until we complete this process, because you don't want to start educating people on one thing and then maybe the name will be changed, the thing will be changed. I suspect he may have sent the email that I sent to him onto the board so that they can think about that.
Okay.
Bill, John Greger.
Sure, John, go ahead.
What was the date Quentin sent out the request for the survey?
Been about a week ago, John, I don't know. Exact date, do you need the exact date?
Well, and it came under his email from the Resident Alliance, right?
It came from the Residents Alliance, that's correct.
Because I got a lot of emails when I was traveling, and for some reason I can't find the survey email.
Every HOA president forwarded it also, said, make sure you've done it.
Yeah.
I've gotten a ton of emails related to this.
Yeah.
Same here.
The email sent out by the Master
Okay, it was
Association
about a
on
week
Friday
ago, though?
included a link
Yeah,
as well.
it was about a week ago, and Chris Santos is pointing out to us, and it's very true, that in the most recent, his weekly letter, there's a place in there where you can click on it and the survey will come up.
Yeah. I got more letters about this than the bear sighting.
Okay.
June 13th,
June 13th,
yep,
something was sent.
4:04.
4:04 on June 13th, John.
Pay attention to the women.
Okay, one of the highest priority projects we are looking at is there has been great concern about the intersection at Veneto and Decenzo. Because cars come speeding down Veneto, headed for the town center, or speeding the other way, going out of the town center. The people in Decenzo are very concerned about the safety of that corner. So we're gonna be taking a strong look at that as to what we can do to improve it, perhaps with stop signs, perhaps also with a double striping on the road. And
What is the condition today there, I mean, sidelines?
There are.
Not on any of the.
Well, there's a stop at the end of Vicenza.
But nothing on Benito.
Nothing underneath it. And this brings me to another point, and something that I probably should have thought of and left out of the budget, and that is that the Safety and Security Work Group may be coming up with other recommendations of signs and markings and things that need to be done. We don't really have anything in the budget for it, but that may be happening because we're looking at a number of things. One of which, this is just on our project list, but you ought to be aware of it. As you know, we have a contract with the Fort Myers Police Department to allow them to come in here and enforce the traffic laws. We don't see much of them because they are so spread out that they don't have, the guy who's supposed to cover here, has 20 other communities he's got to cover. And further, in the summertime, it gets even more difficult because the kids are out of school and there's more crime and things of that sort. There is a provision that you can make a private contract with the Fort Myers Police Department to bring in the police more frequently at a cost of $40 an hour. But we are going to give some consideration to that. and we may be bringing that issue to you.
I actually met somebody who got a ticket for rolling to a stop sign.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
Lin-
someone who got a ticket.
Linda
too.
Easton, and she's not happy.
Yeah, well, you know, the problem is, and I get this all the time, I get emails, most of the people in here drive reasonably carefully. The percentage of the people who don't is small, but that small percentage of 1,900 homes is still a lot of people. And there are a lot of people who speed, who go through stop signs, and there are people very concerned about that, so, but we'll have to justify that to you if we bring it back.
They don't even slow down sometimes in Cypress Grove at Carina.
Yeah,
There's a stop sign there that they just,
just blow right
Ignore
through
it, yeah.
The police officer that controls or comes into Pelican Preserve most frequently was asked some questions similar to what we're talking about at one of Gail Anthony's meetings. And his comment was, he's not stopping anybody that basically makes a rolling stop at those intersections. He will ticket anybody who doesn't make a rolling stop and look to see what's going on. If he doesn't see their head turn to check the intersection, he's gonna pull them over. But if they take a look and he sees that they're taking precautions, he says, I'm not there to give tickets out. So perhaps people should be aware that you need to use some common sense, and maybe a rolling stop isn't the worst thing, but if you're not looking to make sure the intersection's clear, you're gonna get a ticket. And he was very adamant about, I'm not here to give tickets out, but I will do it that way.
The other piece of that is that as far as speed limits are concerned, they really will not ticket anybody unless they go over 40 on those roads, even though
They
the
do
speed
that.
limit is 30.
yeah, they definitely go over 40.
They definitely
yeah.
do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the data tells us that too.
Huh?
We've done enough
Oh,
studies
oh,
with
yeah,
the data.
oh, yeah, and the percentage was relatively small, it was down, 4 or
Well-
5%, but.
If we pay for the $40 an hour service, do we get the whatever revenue is generated? I'm dead serious.
Only
Offset
the
its
ticket
cost.
price goes up by 5%.
Well, I don't care what the ticket price is, but it should come to us, not for an hour. You know, you can't have it both ways. You can't be paying for the guy to be here, and then the money goes someplace else.
Oh, I'm thinking they're keeping the money.
I'm thinking they give you the money
Well, then
too.
we ought to charge them to come.
Then you really get the tickets up.
You know, the purpose clearly would be that the community would know that possibly that, more likely that somebody will be in here, and will hopefully slow down those people who don't.
I love your optimism, okay.
Well, Bob, what we found is when we first had the cops come in here and they gave out some tickets,
Yep,
that
It did.
Yeah.
dampened
And
it
now that
down.
they're
Yeah,
not here,
I
it's
agree.
creeping back
And
up.
if people believe that they're gonna be in here now and again, it
been a long
doesn't-
time since I've seen them, but I did see
Yeah.
them first.
Yeah,
I would think that might be more responsive during season
Yes.
than, we pick our
That-
months to do that.
yes, and I agree with you, Joe. We can kind of do it when we feel it really makes sense. Yeah, I think it's very good. By the way, looking at you, Joe, and part of what's in this document, I go back to the golf cart situation, and as Joe has pointed out, and this is an element we will bring back to the board if we go back to them, to have them reverse their decision on the golf carts, is that the lanes on, the shoulder lanes on Cypress Grove aren't even 4 feet wide.
And there is
Yeah.
no lane on Prado.
Yeah, but that's not a finished road. I went over and checked it after we talked, and that doesn't have a final surface yet. So I'm sure they're not gonna paint it until they have a final surface.
Yeah.
That could be.
But I wanted to state that I looked at my pictures here in the note, and I see 3 feet 8 to 12 inches, and 3 feet to 12 inches would be 4 feet. It should be 8.5 inches.
8.5.
Oh, okay.
So I'd like to make sure we understand that's not 8 to 12 inches, but 8.5 inches. Not much difference, but they are narrower, which shows no consistency whatsoever between what they're doing.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. That's all I have to report on Safety and Security Work Group. Any questions?
We had speed bumps put in on the path around the preserve.
I call them.
Where did that come
breakers.
from?
They are speed humps, not bumps. We had nothing to do with it. That was the result of Lennar getting the right-of-way on that path. You know, they had to negotiate with Sienna for the piece of the path that Sienna owned. And in order to get control of that piece of the path, they negotiated with Sienna, and Sienna insisted that those speed humps be put on the path. And that was the reason it was done.
I take very strong objections to Lennar doing anything on a path that they don't wanna maintain. If they wanna maintain it, fine, let them fix the bridges. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say it's not mine, and I'm not gonna fix the wooden bridges, but then turn around and build a speed bump because they wanna do something in Sienna. There's something really screwed up with that thought process.
Well, maybe, but they claim, and I think they're right, that they still own that property. And they're allowed to do that. That was the
They don't have
answer.
any, they don't own the property over by the boardwalk. That's where one of the speed bumps is. They have a little section, you know, from that wedge.
Mhm.
Who installed it? I mean, was Castle involved in that?
No, it was done
Well, then
by,
if somebody comes out with a hammer and
It was-
busts it all up,
it was done by Lennar.
I guess, you know, it's okay.
Well, there's no signs, there's no markings,
Well,
and
they're
the streets.
supposed, the part of it, there's supposed to be signs.
There aren't.
And I know, and they claim they're gonna put the signs in.
Well, I was.
Is this Lennar again, or is it Sienna?
This is Lennar.
Who's claiming?
Huh? This is Lennar.
Who is doing it in Lennar?
Well, I have talked to Lou Lemare in Sienna, and he tells me that Lennar says that they will be putting the signs in. It's Caldwell.
Okay.
I think
it's a
those palm-
dangerous precedent.
Those palm trees they put in are, I think, too close to the driveway too. They're gonna grow up, there's 4 or 5 of them they put in, they're gonna grow up and they're gonna be hanging over the cart path. But I drove my cart over those things, and one of them is higher than I think the others, my perception. But it was a tooth, it was, you know, it rattled the fillings in my teeth. They seem like they're built for a car, not a cart, a golf cart. They really
Wait till
raise
the
you
first
up.
Oldster trips with his little walker went across.
Oh, well, a friend went over it with her bike, she said it almost threw her off her bike.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
would
mean.
believe that, and people that use some of these motorized carts to get around are gonna have a difficult time with
Well,
that.
I think that
Way too big.
a safety hazard has been created, and I don't believe, my humble opinion is that one community, Sienna or anybody else, has the right to do that to the rest of the community. That is not a Sienna path.
Okay, we will get into that.
Yeah,
It's my nickel's worth.
I support it.
Any other questions for Safety and Security Work Group? If not, we will move on. Gateway meeting attendance schedule, I'm scheduled to go to the one on Thursday, and I will be there,
The 21st, yes.
the 21st. But there's one on the 5th of July, another on the 19th of July, one on the 2nd of August, and one on the 16th of August.
I can do the 15th, I'm sorry, the 19th or the 5th of July. August, I'm kinda tied up for.
Okay, can you do the, Joe, you'll do the 5th of July?
Yes,
Okay. 19th of July,
I'm not here.
I can do that one. Getting into August, 2nd of August,
I'm not here.
do I hear any takers?
let me just double check.
Ron, are you gonna be back at all? Hello?
Yeah, I'm gonna be back probably the second week in August.
Okay.
I could do the second meeting.
The
in August. I
16th,
can't
the
do
sixth,
first.
okay,
Yeah, I could do the 16th.
okay.
If you have trouble with that, Ron, I'll be here also,
Yeah.
but I can't do that. I can't do the
So do we
second.
have somebody for the
I'll wait for the
second?
I
second.
got grandkids coming in.
Okay,
I'm out of town on the
you're out of
second.
town,
I
okay.
could do both Julys if that helps somebody break up their
Well,
schedule.
let me, at least for now, take the 2nd of August.
Okay.
All right. One of the things, as we move on here, committee member requests and audience comments. John, where do we stand as far as the revised O&M agreement, or the O&M agreement?
Well, I think most of the PPAC members and everybody received it. Are there any comments regarding errors or omissions or upgrading it a different way?
Well, I believe I at least sent you an email on that very subject. You didn't get it?
I've been traveling, so tell me
Well,
when that was.
well, I'll have to go back and look, but it was some time ago. I think
The
it
only
may,
email I remember and I was reviewing had to do with Phil's comment. And I assume that is resolved then, right? Phil?
yeah. When you say my comment, I had quite a number of
No,
comments.
not yours.
Philip
Mr. Rover's
Rovner,
comment.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was resolved, but I sent you, one of the things I got into was to be sure that, we were all talking about this, exactly the same thing, and I think we resolved that the one thing that was not included was Prado, was what is gonna be the Matarita 4, conveyance, which is mainly Prado Drive, but I sent you an email with quite a number of comments. I will resend that to you.
Please, I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. Or let's put it this way, probably sent it through Diane, and maybe you didn't get it. Okay. Any other committee member requests or audience comments?
Well, the P-PAC meeting on the 12th, I'll be calling in, I won't be making that. I know in July we always have a problem with, do we have a quorum?
Oh, okay.
So
You've got it July 11th on the agenda here instead of the 12th.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna be on the Thursday.
Hmm?
It's still Thursday, the 12th, not
The
the
12th, okay. Are there others who will not be able to make that meeting?
I should be here.
You should be here. Joe, will you be here? Ron, you and John will still be out?
Yeah,
Correct.
oh, man, what date is the meeting, is the standard second Thursday, right?
Yes.
July 12th.
July 12th,
Yeah, I can call in.
okay. All right, we'll have to see, so, there.
But do the call-ins
No,
constitute
they
a
do not
quorum?
constitute
That's
a
what I mean.
quorum. So if Nancy Hall can't make it, we're not gonna have a quorum. But I'll check on that.
Okay. The CDD candidate from Pelican apparently is going to be Bill Guy.
That's
Just
correct.
for anyone that doesn't know that, so we do have a candidate.
Yeah.
And we really have to make sure that as a community, we get out to the vote.
Oh, yeah.
That's extremely important that we get behind him. And then my only other,
We do have a candidate.
Yeah, Bill Guy.
Bill Guy.
Bill Guy has agreed to re-up.
standing for reelection.
Okay. Now, isn't there enough, I mean, aren't there 2 seats available? on
Yes,
the
there are 2 seats available. That's correct.
And nobody else is willing to try to get on?
Are you kidding me?
Try to get 2?
Well.
Are you volunteering?
I can't, I'm not there for 3 months, so.
Yeah, we had a hell of a time getting the one person.
And he's already there.
Never mind 2.
Okay, one last comment on the Viadana electrical box. We have run into pretty much a roadblock with FPNL from the CDD point of view, and the Bonds Work Group tried to help them. We have now enlisted the help of Gail Anthony, the city of Fort Myers, Sahin, and Cecil Prendergast to try and get 2 things done. First, get it fixed, and then second, find somebody to pay for it. So the saga continues, and it's still ongoing.
One other thing worth mentioning is the question of the advertising signs. And it appears that the Code Enforcement Board has given Lennar a pass on those signs. They are not going to insist that they be taken down. I guess money talks at
I'm
the city
shocked.
level. Yeah. pretty discouraging.
We needed to fill the hall with red shirts and didn't,
Yeah,
missed that chance.
well, yeah, the code enforcement board is, you know, it.
Not public.
Well, it is public, but it's not the board, it's another entity. Any other comments?
I have a question that
Sure.
may not be pertain to this, so
Yeah.
cut me off if it's wrong, but we will be getting a new board member on the Master Association for Pelican Preserve. And is there any way we can influence or request Lennar maybe to accept that we have a second person that could participate on that group, not necessarily be a board member or a voting member, but we are in a predicament right now where the fellow that's been there and has learned the ropes is leaving, and the new person's gonna be moving into it,
Well,
and we don't have a backup if
the-
that happens again.
Yeah, the new person who they're likely to appoint is Rich Rittenberg.
Oh.
And he's pretty familiar with what's going on
Yeah.
on the board. So I think from that perspective, it's covered. And Rich has informed me that he's gonna start work on perhaps getting a group together to think about the things that we have to do as we get ready for turnover. And he's already had a discussion with the folks at Castle about that, and he's gonna get together a group probably starting in the fall to talk about turnover and who should be, who should be involved and what are the things we need to do to prepare ourselves for that.
Yeah, I think we need to start the educational process, so when
Yes.
we do get it, we aren't coming in cold turkey.
Exactly, and that's where he's coming from, and he's thought through that pretty well. He will unfortunately not be at the upcoming meeting of the board, but.
Does he know we're gonna vote for him?
Well, you don't have to vote for it.
No, that's right.
He's in.
He's appointed.
Yeah, he's appointed. Any other discussions or questions? Okay, well, Mr. Gephardt, I'm sorry, we took a little over too, but we got through a lot of material. Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
second?
Second.
The meeting is adjourned.